What's up guys, and welcome back to Astro Music Tutorials. Today I've got 6 free plugins for you. 6 free effect plugins, to be honest. These plugins can be aesthetically and visually great to look at, and they serve a higher purpose in your music production. Now I'm not going to go in too deep with all these plugins. I'm just going to skim the surface of what they actually do. If you want the full review and breakdown of the plugin, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go and research it for yourself. I'm merely presenting you the plugin on a silver platter. You can choose to take it or not if you want, but know that they're free plugins, so you basically have nothing to lose if you do end up downloading it. Before you do, let's jump into the video and see exactly what plugins I'm talking about. So the first plugin that I'm going to be talking about is the Smexoscope. Such a weird name, Smexoscope. But basically this is a metering plugin. It's for you to visualize your sound. I'm going to tell you right now, I have no clue what most of these knobs even do, but I will tell you one useful feature what you can do with this plugin. If you have a hard time understanding certain elements of sound engineering like compression, saturation, and all that, as in if you have a hard time hearing what they do, you can use a visual plugin like this to see what the compression can do. So here we have a fruity compressor. I'm going to be applying it on this drum loop over here. See what the compression does. So I'm just going to raise the ratio a little bit. Now if I lower the threshold, raise the attack, you can see how much tighter the drums are getting, which is essentially gluing your drums together. It's making it really tight and punchy. And you can do the same thing with the saturation plugin or any other effects plugin that you have a hard time hearing the difference. You know what they say, seeing is believing. Now speaking of seeing is believing, let's move on to plugin number 2, the Initial Clipper. This is also another visualizing plugin. If you just add this onto any sound or any loop or whatever and press play, look at what you'll see. Like I said, it's another great visualizing plugin. This is how I stupidly use it. If you're like a content creator who likes uploading their beats on social media, it's always nice to have some sort of a visualizer that goes along with your beat. Other than that, this thing is a clipper. A clipper basically prevents your sound from going over 0 decibels. If it goes over 0 decibels, it enters the red area and it starts clipping. So this prevents that. All you have to do is like adjust the threshold according to how loud you want it. And the most important feature of this plugin, in my opinion, is the fact that it measures the LUFs. So LUF stands for Loudness Unit Full Scale. What it is basically the overall volume of your track. Why is it important? Well, if you're thinking about uploading your music to like streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, each of those streaming platforms have their own specific LUFS, and it differs for every streaming platform. So all you have to do is put this on your master and you can measure. So yeah, this plugin is a clipper, a saturator, and a loudness meter, and it's a visualizer. Speaking of visualizer, let's move on to plugin number 3. Like I said, this is an aesthetically pleasing plugin video. Anyway, the third aesthetically pleasing plugin is the TDR Prism. I know Clipper looked great, but then Clipper was kind of clunky when it comes to showing off the waveforms. This, however, let me just show you how it looks like. Kind of reminds you of those old visualizers that you had on the Windows music players and stuff. This is somewhat of a frequency metric plugin. I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it looks really cool, but let me just show you what I know exactly. Basically, this little box over here is what you need to tweak. Click on the tools and it will show you exactly what you can control. So right now I only have one input. That's why you only see one waveform. And you can customize the color of this waveform. Look at all those colors. It's so cool. And then you can choose whether you want like line, half fill, or X-ray. X-ray is what makes it look like this, basically. If you want to know more about this, you guys got to go check it out yourself. But for me, I'm just going to keep using it like a visualizer. That's so cool. Okay, with that, we come to the end of the aesthetically pleasing visualizer plugins. Now we'll move on to the real effect plugins, and I think I have 2 or 3 of that. First of all, I have GateLab. So this is basically a creative gate sequencer, which modulates the volume of the sound. I think it's easier if I just show you instead of explaining it. This big green button in the middle, it's like a randomizer button. Just click it. It automatically gives you this little sequence. So I have this instrumental loop over here. This is what it sounds like. So now we throw GateLab on top of that, and we randomize the sequence, and this is what it sounds like now. You can also change the direction of the sequencer, like if I click on this. And you can change it from mono and stereo. So this is basically the left and this is the right, and now just let's randomize it. There's absolute chaos going on in my ears. And if you don't want the sequencer, you also have this option where you can, I don't know how to explain this, but then each symbol gives you a particular sound. Like if I take this, I really like this one. Let's try this. It's absolute insanity that's going on in between my headphones. So yeah, that is the GateLab. Very cool plugin. I think it will be really good for genres like Botanica. But Botanica is famous for those like mangled, absolutely destroyed sounding textures. And I think this is a good way to create those type of sounds. So moving on, it is another plugin from the same company, PanFlow. So this is a very cool panning plugin. This basically functions the same way as the GateLab. You have this big button in the middle, click it to randomize different shapes, and the buttons to the side will customize the nature of the shape, the nature of the sound. I've randomized the sound, let's hear what it sounds like. And you can like customize the speed and everything. Let's try 8. I'm not really sure about what this is. Like I said, if you want to know more about these plugins, you have to go and research it for yourself. I'm sure there are other videos that explain much better. So these plugins are part of a bundle, basically. If you go to the Audio Modern website, which is a company that creates these plugins, you can get 3 of these weird sound effect plugins for free. The GateLab, PanFlow, and the filter step. I'm not sure if you remember, but I talked about the filter step in one of my free plugin videos a long time ago. If you don't remember what filter step is, I will remind you right now. The interface of all these 3 plugins are basically the same. There's a big button in the middle which randomizes and a sequencer that you can play around with. But this is really cool because it's a dice. Let's see what it sounds like. Like I said, very weird sounding plugins, but man, these are so useful. To create a sense of movement and variation in your mix, these are absolutely fire. I also love how they look visually. They've done a really great job to make it look and sound interesting. And I can't believe these are free. But get this bundle right now. I'll link it in the description. And with that, I've come to the end of this video. I've showed you 6 plugins actually, if you include Filter Step. I know I've talked about it before, but then I'm still adding it. Now, all the links to the plugins will be in the description, so go and check them out and download them. Now, if you like this video, go and check out my other videos. I think you'll find them equally entertaining, if not more. And yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.